Hi everyone, Aaron here for Tech, and iOS 26 Beta 1 is out, and I wanted to walk you through how you can install it on your iPhone, iPad, what you should know before you install it, what you should know after you install it, and whether or not you should switch maybe between the developer beta or the public beta. Now, the first thing is the supported devices. This year, Apple has dropped support for a few devices, specifically the iPhone XR, XS, and XS Max. If you have any questions about this, you can go to Apple's website, go to iPhone, scroll down to where you see iOS 26 preview, and then scroll all the way to the bottom and you can actually see the supported devices. So just scroll down here and you'll see all the supported devices, including the iPhone SE second generation and later. Not all of the devices get all of the features, and I have a separate video covering that as well, which is specific to each device. Also, you can see the same thing with iPadOS, so if you're wondering if you can try it out on iPad, go to the same exact place, iPadOS 26 Preview, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you can see it here, what's supported. Most of last year's iPads are still supported, but you may find that some of the older ones are not. But again, most of them are, especially if you have an M1 or later iPad. Now, as far as the first things to know, well, betas are buggy and designed to give an early look at the features and changes, but also in exchange for you to provide feedback to help Apple make better software in the long run. Battery could be much worse than iOS 18 to start, so just be aware of that. Now, in order to get started, the first thing we want to do is sign up for the beta. You can do that going to beta.apple.com. Now you'll see Apple Beta Software Program. You can sign up for the latest betas, including iOS 26, iPadOS 26, as well as new AirPods firmware. Previously, those were only available to developers, and now they're doing a beta test for public beta testers. Now, if you're already signed up as a beta tester from previous updates, you can move on to the next step. However, if you haven't signed up already, go ahead and sign up now and use the same Apple ID that you use on your iPhone. Now, once you've signed up and signed in, you'll see Guide for Beta Software. You can take a look at the latest versions of iOS, iPadOS, and if we scroll down, you'll see it says New Look, Even More Magic. You can learn about it, get started, provide feedback, diagnostics and usage data, it explains that, and also back up your device. Once you've signed up for the beta, the first thing you really should do is back up your device, whether you're on iOS 26 already or iOS 18. Just go into your settings. You can either do this using a computer, or if you have enough iCloud storage, you can go in here and back it up as well. Go into Settings, tap your name at the top, scroll down to where it says iCloud, and under iCloud, about halfway down, you'll see iCloud Backup. Mine was backed up 9 hours ago, so make sure that you back this up. Again, it can be backed up here, it can be backed up on your computer, and that will allow you to just make sure that you have something that you could go back to if you have any problems. This time around, it's definitely a little bit different. You can restore from the phone as well using another phone or another iPad, and again, I'll have a separate video about that. Now that the update is out, in order to install it, all you need to do is go over to your device. So if you have a device that wasn't previously on iOS 26, or if you do, there's even a new build so you can install the public beta now. But if we go to General, then Software Update, you'll see that we have beta updates. Go into your beta updates. You'll see we now have the option for iOS 26 public beta. Prior to this, if you were a developer, you would have the developer beta option. So now all you need to do is just tap on it to switch, give it a second to recognize it, now go back, and you'll see it actually showed up already. But if you're not seeing it, just pull down and refresh, or go back out, go to Software Updates, and you'll see the public beta. Go ahead and tap Update Now, and then it will install. It could take some time as this is over 16 gigabytes in size, so give it some time to install. It will download and install. You can also use iTunes on Windows or maybe Finder on the Mac as well if you want to install it that way. Let's go ahead and install it, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, once you install the update and everything's up to date, you're back to the home screen. There'll be a little bit of a learning curve as things have changed a little bit. Not only do we have different icons, but we have a different look and some different interactions and options as well. So we have this liquid glass design. So if we go into the control center, you'll see some of that here. And this liquid glass design will vary over the next few betas as Apple continues to change things. You can see it in the folders here. There's a bug there already where some of the icons are in light mode. Then you open the folder, they're in dark mode. The same is true with specific other app icons. So going through the different OS, expect bugs like that. But if you press and hold, go to Edit, you'll see some more options here. So if we go to Edit, you'll see it pops out with a little different animation. Of course, we can customize, add widgets, see some different modes, see clear mode. So those are some things you'll want to try out. See what's new, try it out, and see what works best for you and what you like the best. There's also new menus throughout the OS, so you'll see the overall menu is a little bit different when you're in music. You'll tap the home button at the bottom, and then you'll bring up things such as library, radio, and new. You can slide across, you'll see an animated sort of liquid glass icon, and this is changed throughout the OS. So just play around with it a little bit, see what's different. Safari is different as well. And within Safari, it's been changed around again. We have the address bar at the bottom. You can customize this in Safari settings. So just look throughout, see what works best for you, and customize the OS. And then also make sure that you provide feedback. Apple is always looking for feedback, and you can do that in the Feedback app that's automatically installed once you install a beta. This will allow you to provide feedback based on things that aren't working properly, and you can also look at the notes to see if they're already aware of an issue. So if you go into Feedback, you'll see there's things that are submitted, you have an inbox with some new notes, but if you need to submit feedback, just tap on New Feedback, make sure you go through this, customize what the issue was, talk about what problems you had that led to that issue, and then even suggestions can be given here as well. So maybe you don't like the look of something. You could go into iOS and then report that you don't like the look of something, you think they should change it, and they do get back to you from time to time if they're trying to fix something or reproduce an issue. So make sure you're utilizing this, as Apple does use this. You may not always hear back from them, but they do use this, and if they get a lot of the same complaints, they investigate it further. Now, one thing I wanted to caution against is using watchOS betas. watchOS 26 beta, while it seems to be pretty good so far, has definitely had issues, and there's no way to downgrade without bringing it to an Apple store. So an Apple store or sending it into support is the only way you can downgrade back to watchOS 18. So if you wanted to go from watchOS 26 public beta or beta to watchOS 18, you'd need to bring it to a store, and sometimes they even have to send it out. So I would caution against that, and once you upgrade to watchOS 26, you can no longer use watchOS with iOS 18. So if you ever decide to maybe downgrade to iOS 18 until it's released to the public, you can't use your watch again. So I would highly recommend, unless you have an extra watch or you know you're going to stay on iOS 26, do not install watchOS 26 just yet. Now, as far as the developer beta or public betas, well, typically in the past, they've been mostly the same. You can switch between them based on when a new one comes out. So for example, if you have iOS 26 public beta 1, then developer beta 4 comes out, you could switch over to that if you're signed up as a developer. However, once developer beta 5 is out, if you've installed that and then you try to go back to public betas, you won't be able to do that until the next version comes out typically. So you'll want to make sure that you're on each one of those, depending on which one works best for you. However, typically developer betas come out first and sometimes have some issues. So that's why they usually wait a day or two before they release the public beta. So just be aware of that. They're mostly the same, but occasionally there's some issues. Of course, there's lots of other betas with iPadOS, visionOS, macOS, and I would recommend not installing those on any production devices, but if you have extra devices around, you definitely could do that. But they have been buggy up to this point. Now, at any point, you can downgrade back to a public version, but you'll need either another Mac or Windows computer, or you'll need another iPhone or iPad to downgrade this time around. I'll have a separate video on how to do that in the description below, so be sure to check that out if you want to know how to downgrade back, but it's not too complicated of a process, but that's why you need that backup I talked about before. Without that backup, if you downgrade to iOS 18 and don't have an iOS 18 backup, you'll have to start over, but things will resync from iCloud. So just keep all of those things in mind as you're testing out the beta, and it's definitely a fun experience, but keep in mind this is a beta, it can have problems, and again, make sure you report those in feedback. Let me know if you're installing the public beta or the developer beta. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.